Hi, friends. On last week's episode, we discussed how people can become addicted to social media, how cognitive biases that we don't know even exist in our brains are being manipulated by almost every social media that exists, and how your phone is essentially a hacker in your pocket. The feedback this week's been absolutely fantastic. I've got so many tweets and messages from people saying that they are trying to reduce their phone time, and this has helped to open their eyes to why it's not necessarily their fault. This week, I'm sitting down with Kai Wei, who is the CEO of thelightphone.com, and they think that they have developed a product which can enable us to spend more time off screen. I do think that there's an important question to be asked here, and it is, can we fix the problem of too much technology with more technology? That's a question you'll have to answer yourself. Also, I do want to say that I was not sponsored or paid to interview Kai, and I found him off my own back because of how interested I was in the product, and I wanted to hear his philosophy on it. I also want to say that I'm considering buying one after my conversation with him, but that's completely independent. So here we go. Kai Wei. So Kai, welcome to Modern Wisdom. Very good to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for coming on, man. You are CEO of The Light Phone.
That's correct.
So I got introduced to the product from a friend who just linked me to it online, and I had a browse around, and it seemed it's a real unique device as far as I can see. For those people who
Thank you.
Those people who think that technology is sort of moving in one direction, which is more functionality, more integration with our lives, and you guys have come up with a product which kind of goes in the complete opposite direction. Do you think that would be fair to say?
Yeah, actually, a lot of press mention us as anti-smartphone, but we always wanted to clarify that we're not anti-technology or anti-smartphone. We're just trying to be more human about how we approach technology. Specifically the smartphone that we all have 24/7.
Yeah, I understand that. So can you give us some background to yourself and how this concept came about?
Yeah, of course. So my background is in design and design research. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I quit my job and joined this incubator that Google started in New York, specifically for designers, just because they think that the hypothesis is that they think designers, when they put designers on the founding table, that the product we created with empathy can really create social impact. So my co-founder Joe and I met in the space, and we were encouraged to do mobile app, just like any other startup.
Yeah.
So, but very soon that we realized, for both of us, that creating another app is the last thing we want to do. We were doing research about how people interact with smartphone, and we just kind of freak ourselves out. Like, I'm sure you see this everywhere, not just in New York, in subway, in train station, in airport. Everyone is looking, 80% of the time is looking down. It doesn't matter who are they with or where they are. It just swiping away on the screen. We know that we check our phone 200 times or more than 6 hours a day.
Is that the average? Is that the average figure?
Yeah, that's the average figure from the research that we can find.
200 times a day and 6 hours a day on average.
I mean, with teenagers, even worse with social media. They could be on their smartphone 10 hours a day. They're just not human from our perspective. We can't really stare at the screen 24/7.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean, I'd seen I'm not sure how much truth there is in this, but I read a quote from an article that said something like, in 1 week, humans get more stimulation, more visual stimulation than they would have gotten in an entire year, typically during their evolution. And, you know, you are right to look at it, to step back a little bit from typical smartphone use and look at it as an alien, I suppose, looking down on Earth. You have all of the complexity and the beauty and the uniqueness of day-to-day life going on, and
Yeah,
we all spend
is that
so much time staring down at our phones. So what year was this when you first went into the project?
it's in 2014. You know, we started to, after research, we started to thinking about how do we create something that create a physical object that could encourage and inspire more people to take a break.
So can
You know,
you
just like you said, like we go ahead.
no, just can you take us through the research that you did on into people's phone use? Can you explain
Yeah,
how that was conducted and who it was on and what it consisted of?
yeah, of course. I just so we basically invited random people, friends we know, and we take away their smartphone for say like 6 hours or entire day, and we give them, you know, a flip phone at a time and ask them to spend a whole day or 6 hours without their smartphone. And then what's interesting is that was that when they came back from the trip or after the day, you know, like they have common feedback that the first half hour or first hour was extremely difficult because you have this anxiety that you don't know what to do. Like, there's nothing on me. I can't pull out my smartphone and start swiping. I'm getting bored. What do I do? What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone has that reaction in the first 20-30 minutes. However, what's magical is that after you get over that formal, you know, the fear of missing out feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
Once you get over that, what's going to happen is you started to pay attention to other people, to the building, to the crowd. You know, like talk to strangers sometimes when you're waiting for a bus or waiting for a subway. It is fascinating, and they reported back. It's like, you know, I have a lady came back saying that's the best day of her week, just because she remembers what happened during the day, like vividly.
Absolutely. I think there's definitely a parallel that is run between how much of your day has been spent on your phone and how not mindful you have been throughout the day. Like anyone who is undergoing mindfulness practice and trying to be more present,
Yeah,
the first place to look, I think, that will be able to improve your ability to be present is
yeah.
to put your phone down, because by its very nature, having your phone out and in your hand is not being present. You're not where you are. You're somewhere else in a virtual space.
Yeah, we got a lot of, you know, feedback when we started Light Phone. You know, like the most logical, common question will be, "Hey, why do I need Light Phone?" Right? I'll just turn on flight mode. I'll just, you know, leave my smartphone at home. Why do I need Light Phone? There are apps out there that could limit notification or turn off notification. You know, that isn't that, you know, possibly achieve the same purpose that Light Phone is offering? And my answer is always be that I think we as human, we need object to inspire actions. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how, it's also how religious work. You know, you have all kinds of books and status and Nicholas. It just needs something to inspire you, to encourage you to take actions. You
Yeah.
know, you could also say, hey, why can I use a Motorola flip phone, Nokia phone 20 years ago? And my argument is, okay, so how many people that you know actually do that?
Yeah.
Not many. It's not special. Like no one really do that because the experience of using those old vintage devices are not special. All we're trying to do is creating an object, a brand, and our brand message to make this connecting, to make, you know, stay away from your smartphone special.
Yeah.
So more people willing to take a break. We're not trying to replace smartphone, saying, "Hey, your smarphone is bad. Yeah, don't use your smartphone at all." We're not saying that. We're just saying, "Hey, it's like we have different shoes, different clothes for different occasions. Your smartphone is great for emails, for FaceTime, your family, or gaming, whatever that you want to do, social media. But what if sometimes all you want to do is, take a walk down the street, or spending 2 hours with your family in the park, or just, be creative, try to concentrate, or just sitting on the beach watching sunset? Why do you need a mini computer with you all the time?"
Yeah, I think that's a really good analogy to say about the different clothes, because you're right. We have our loadout, so to speak, to use a gaming analogy, is different based on what the situation is that we're going into. We wear different clothes and we have a different backpack to go to the gym versus to go to the office versus to go away on holiday. And, when you're talking about a piece of technology which takes up to 6 hours of your day, so, not far off a third of your waking life is spent on this one object, making that more appropriate for the situation, gearing that in the same way as you do your outfit and your bags and your food and everything else. You are right. It does seem like an odd thing to not be doing. So let's roll back. So you've taken people's phones off them during your research. The people who have had an older phone with less functionality have noticed that they have an improved quality in their day. Was that from there on, did that kind of kick off, right, we need to try and do something about this, we need to try and mirror the reduction in apps in a device, or where did it go from there?
Yeah, pretty much. We just find it fascinating that pretty much everyone comes back saying that's the best hours, best time they have in the whole week, just because we're being bombarded with so much information all the time. And I think that's why we decided, hey, like that's what we want to do. If you look at the current state of technology, right, everything that everyone else, Google, Apple, Samsung, whoever, they're all building product to move us toward more connected life. But there's no balance. No one's offering a healthy balance in the tech world to offer a better option.
Well, I mean, why? The other argument would be, why would they? None of the companies inherently believe that there is anything wrong with too much phone use. The attention economy and advertising, which is what is paving the way for most of the apps that are on the phones, it's advertising time. Time on screen is what these people are concerned about. So if you can make a device which goes longer and more immersively and is more seamlessly integrated with your life, that's more time on screen, that's better, right? That from one side of the fence, that's the way that they're going to presume. Whereas it would appear that what people actually value in terms of what they consider to be time well spent is time off screen.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what, in my opinion, that's a huge. It's almost a crisis of human being. Like, we are so blindly willing to give up what we have in front of us, give up our thoughts, give up boredom. Boredom is supposed to be. Feeling bored is how you be creative, how you look into yourself and start a conversation with yourself. But right now, because of attention business, because of all the business model in the app, not smartphone, app, all the business model in your app is trying to grab your attention, grab your time, so they can make money out of it. They could either put in more advertisement or lure you to subscribe service. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how company work. But the problem is, like, when everything's doing that, your device is just we're putting ourselves in a disadvantage.
Absolutely.
As a human.
Absolutely.
We're vulnerable.
We are vulnerable, and I think one of the big things I listened to. What kind of got me onto this topic specifically was a podcast that Tristan Harris from Time Well Spent did with Sam Harris halfway through last year, and I know that that was really eye opening for a lot of people, and for me to see that and to look at the persuasive techniques that are being used by app developers and the companies that are behind some of the most highly used and highly engaged social media sites in the world, it does feel like you're being tricked. I know that it's not that there's some evil cabal of people in hooded robes sat behind, in some dark dungeon somewhere. That's not the way it is, but it kind of does feel a little bit like that. As a user, you kind of this rat in a maze getting forced around this app loop, and you before you know it, you've spent 45 minutes in bed on a morning, and you're late to make breakfast, and you're late to go and do the things that you actually wanted to do with your day because you've been stuck in a loop.
Yeah, and as a designers, like when we design app, if we were to design app, you always want to make sure like every step of the way it's enticing. You create this page, the next page, like all makes sense, all interesting, so people spend more time on your app. They follow through, complete your process. As a designer, that's how we design. If we are designing app, that's how we design app. And that's why business, and that's how business model in the app benefit from it too.
Absolutely.
We're just so vulnerable as human that I think with Lightphone that we wanted to also start a conversation of why can we have different options, right? Why can we up our smartphone and just use something else, so that we won't be hijacked. We're using something that actually designed to respect us. It's not designed to grab your time, attention, or make you spend more money on it. They just want to sell you something.
Yeah.
What can we design something beautiful and respect humans' time?
Yeah. I think what's interesting is that there's kind of two sides to looking at this, or three sides, should I say, to looking at this problem, as far as I can see. One of them is what Tristan Harris appears to be focusing a lot of his time on, which is coming at it from an ethical design perspective. So he's trying to have a change in the culture on a designer's side so that they're thinking about what they're doing with the apps. I think on another side, there is tactics that normal people and normal smartphone users can use in terms of reducing their time on screen or improving the quality of their time on screen. And then there appears to be a third side of that, which is looking at solutions to smartphone use overall. And I think that, to me, that appears to be where the Lightphone fits in.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tristan's approach is very interesting, and then it might be able to create a long-term impact. But in my opinion, it's the business model that drove the addictiveness of our app. It's not a designer. It's like if there's no, if business model is not trying to force you to spend more time, enticing you to spend more time, and they make money, designer won't do that because they won't. Usually designer is following what company's policy, and they're usually not the one making the final decision.
So you're saying that for as long as the attention economy is driving revenue through time on screen, the app developers are going to continue to do that. So all they're doing is meeting a brief, right?
Yeah, and you also have an app. You just within the ecosystem, the smartphone app. It will be so. There's a psychology study that we learned that only the presence, just the presence of your smartphone on the table, changed our conversation. You and me. If I'm sitting right across you and I have my phone out, that changed our conversation because we both expect our conversation will be interrupted. we will pick up our phone and text and look at you and talk at the same time. We will look at the notification. Like I think just the presence of your smartphone really change our behavior.
That's so
So
interesting.
yeah, it's crazy how smartphone immersed into our daily life, and it's also fascinating how we are not fighting back.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. I think what's really interesting is you've said there, having the smartphone out on the table. You're not the first person who's cited this, actually. Yusuf, one of the co-hosts, mentioned this on a previous podcast. It's really funny that you've both come up with the same story, but it's really interesting. Smartphone is such a ubiquitous part of our lives, but yet in the same sentence, having it out changes our behavior. So that shows that although it's accepted, it's not natural. If it was natural, it wouldn't make any difference, but it's not. It is an impingement. It is a restriction on our time and on our normal discourse.
Yeah, and because this is so addictive, like you can, we all have this nervous habit to just check it every couple minutes, every couple seconds. It just extremely powerful have so much power over us. Yeah, we just feel like we need to do something else to help out.
I agree, man. I agree indeed. But yeah, like you say, the Tristan's approach from Time Well Spent and the Center for Humane Technology. Both of those, check them out if you're listening, and the links will be in the description below. Those are important systemic changes, but they're a cultural change. And I do think that that's going to come about through understanding, through disseminating information. And, you know, you are right that the economy at the moment is driving people in that direction. So it's not a fix which can be reached very quickly. I don't think that it's the sort of solution which is going to manifest itself, or it's a destination, should I say, which is going to be reached very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously wish that could bring like immediately impact as well. I think we as human we need to fight back. And with Lifephone, I think our philosophy when we started designing it and creating a vision, we don't really see Lifephone as a solution to smartphone addiction. The Lifephone to us, it's a question that we want to pose to our users. Well, what is the question? The question is, when you go out with Lifephone, you have no smartphone, you have no social media, no game, no message, no notification. What are you going to do? What's important in your life? What are you going to think about? Who are you going to talk to? When you get bored, what's essential to you? Like, I think all this profound question that we, right now, especially nowadays that we have smartphone on us all the time, you just, take it out and spending time on it. Like, we forget to do all that. I think that's like so important to us as human to really have time, creating the time for us to, have a conversation with ourselves.
I think that having a conversation with yourself is such a really important message. We were discussing in Life Hacks 101, one of the podcasts that we recorded not so long ago. We discussed that during meditation and mindfulness practice, a lot of the time when you quieten down the mind, you end up having thoughts and ideas that come to you, and they never come to you at any other time of the day. And
exactly.
That's absolutely due to the fact that you do not have this distraction, this barrage of stimulus that's taking you away from being with your thoughts and taking you into a world that you've seen a million times before. The images are different and maybe the text's different, but the experience is the same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what makes us human. I think we can't forget about it. That's why we're human. We're not AI. We're not machine. Like we we ask ourselves stupid questions. We ask ourselves silly questions. We get bored.
Yeah.
We get angry. We get jealous. It's just, yeah, like that's so important to humanity. Actually, it's been 3 years since we started LifePhone. We have 10,000 users around the globe, and now we're asking ourselves, how do we encourage people to go light more often? Go light meaning leave your smartphone at home and go out. How do we do that more often? How do we stay away from smartphone?
Yeah. So we've danced around it. Can you take us through what the light phone is from bottom to top?
Yeah. So technically, light phone is a credit card size mobile phone that only makes and receives phone calls. There's nothing else on it. No messaging, no notification, no internet, no social media. So how it works is that you basically pair light phone with your smartphone, and when you want to use light phone, you could turn on light phone from your smartphone, leave your smartphone behind, and go out without all the distraction and noise. So you are able to enjoy the moment and be more present. But when someone calls you on your smartphone, the call will get forwarded to your light phone. So you won't miss important calls. At the meantime, there's no distraction, no noise.
Right, I understand. So I've done a little bit of reading and had a look around. Am I right in thinking that you're allowed to call 9 people? Is that right?
Yeah, we allow user to save up to 9 speed dials on a light phone.
So you got the 1 to 9 on the keypad, and you can call the 1 through 9 as outgoing calls.
Yes, that's the initial intention. The reason that we make that design choice is that doing research, when we ask people to go out with, leave their smartphone behind and go out with a flip phone or old mobile phone, we also ask our participant to write down the numbers they need for the day, and no one has more than 6. Like no one has. More number they want to call more than 6. No one has that. Like, why do we have 1,000 contact in our phone?
Yeah.
And that's why we make that decision too.
You're so right. You are so right. I think probably of the top 20 people that you call, there would be, or of your entire phone book, you're right, the 95% of the people that you're going to call most regularly are going to be a very small number of phone numbers, and some of those are probably going to be pizza deliveries and takeaways and stuff like that. So okay, so I'm right in saying that you keep your own number as well, right? So it's not a separate phone, it's kind of like an extension of your existing phone.
Yeah, we offer that call masking feature in US only. So in US, when you get light phone, you could pair light phone with your smartphone, and the light phone will basically use your smartphone number. So when you make phone calls from light phone, it will still shows out as your, it's you, not a different number.
Yeah. Okay. So what is the rollout at the moment of light phone? Where is it available and where is it functioning?
Yeah, we ship internationally, and at the moment, I think we shipped roughly 10,000 plus light phones to 50 different countries.
Wow.
And it is amazingly, like, we learned this problem is so universal. It was not just US or UK, it's like everywhere, especially in Asia countries too.
Okay.
We were in Hong Kong airport, like when we, went to Hong Kong to meet suppliers, we saw the stickers everywhere in the airport that ask people to look up, because it's become a safety issues everywhere in the airport. People just like staring at their phone and bumping into each other.
It's such a big issue, people looking at their phones, that it's an actual safety hazard. It's been classed as a safety hazard that people aren't looking up as opposed to looking down.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
see, yeah, we all have so much in our life, right? You have friends, family, you have, like trees, cloud, buildings, architecture, it's beautiful stores, like, but we just willingly give those all up. Um, so yeah,
You're really right. I think something that one of my work colleagues said to me about a year ago on a similar subject, and he asked, "What was the last three things that you liked on any social media?"
yeah,
And if the listeners can try and do that, unless they've got their phone in front of them now, if you can try and think about the last three things that you clicked like on Instagram or Facebook, I have absolutely no idea. Like those things were so worthy of my time that I sacrificed some of my life to go on to this device and look at them and then give a judgment of positivity in response to it. And yet, upon being asked to recall it 20 minutes later, I can't even tell you what it was.
yeah. We just
I
flip
mean,
things so quickly. We don't, we don't really spend time digesting. You just flip it through. We have so much information all the time.
you're right. Yeah, it's almost such an information overload as people go through their phone that the depth of interaction has to be by very nature shallow in order to fit the breadth of consumption in. Do you think that's fair to say?
Totally. And I also think it's because it's easy. We human, we're lazy, we want easy way out. That's why we have smartphones. So when you feel challenged, when you feel awkward, when you feel bored, you have a way out. Same thing with social media, same thing with anything. Like when you have a difficult thought, you just want to, instead of like really dive into it, really like think about it, you just blindly consuming information without even thinking about it. Um, yeah,
The boredom thing's a really interesting one as well. I'd seen a study online that said something like more than 60% of people admit to using their phone on the toilet. And I honestly saw that and thought, is it only 60%? Like, I don't know anyone, I don't know anybody that goes to the bathroom and doesn't take their mobile phone with them. Like, yeah, and
100%.
that bathroom thing is such a big deal. Like, that's the one time where you probably can afford to be alone with your thoughts. And we're having a swipe through Instagram and we're doing all bits and pieces like that. You think, well, yeah,
Yeah,
the boredom is part and parcel, and the silence is part and parcel as well. And I think that the rates of anxiety, mental health, and suicide is the number one killer of men in the UK under the age of 40. Rates of anxiety. It's Mental Health Week this week, actually, in the UK. And in a society where we're trying to reduce anxiety, reduce depression, and I'm going to guess that there will be some studies that I'm not aware of. Has smartphone use been scientifically linked with anxiety and depression yet, or are you aware if it has?
I'm not, but I might. We always believe that being more connected won't make us any happier. Looking at people's feed won't make you happy. It's just gonna make you more anxious. You're gonna compare, and for teenagers, for young people that didn't really realize that the social media or internet is just one side of just one small angle of this person's life. Like you see, you see like, oh, I'm always pottering on pottering on Facebook. I'm always out traveling on my Facebook or Twitter or social media, but that's not real life.
At
That's
all.
just a reflection of one angle of this person's life.
Abs-
We as humans, we always want to show the positive side. We always want to show that we're laughing, we're having fun.
yeah.
No one's posting on Facebook saying, my boyfriend just dumped me or my girlfriend just dumped me. I'm
Yeah.
miserable.
Or even on the other end of the scale, like, at least that's interesting. No one is going on and saying nothing really happened today. Today was a little bit dull. Like,
Yeah.
it's not newsworthy, is it? But there's a really good quote that I read, and I reiterated this on a recent podcast that said, social media shows you the best of everybody else's lives whilst you view the worst of your own and you compare it to the worst of your own. It's the best of everyone else and
Yeah,
the
it's really
worst of
not
you. No, it's not at all, man. So going back to the light phone, I think what's interesting is there's a couple of big podcasters that some of my friends follow who do either a phone-free afternoon, or they have actually created a rudimentary version of what the light phone does by getting like a old, a pay-as-you-go the £10 Nokia phone, and you tried to cobble together a solution like this. And a couple of the issues that those guys have come up against. So one of them, the problem with not having a phone on you at all is that I think there's definitely a level of safety of knowing that you've got your phone with you. Like, there may be an emergency, either you needing to contact someone or someone needing to contact you. So I think going completely phone free holds so much anxiety for some people that whatever level of freedom they would gain by not having their smartphone would be nullified, and then probably actually even made worse by shitting their pants that something bad had gone wrong and that they weren't able to be contacted, or that they couldn't contact someone. So I think going completely phone free, because phone free isn't the issue, is it? The phone isn't the issue. It's the overuse and it's the immersion in apps. That's the issue.
Phone is just a tool. It's supposed to be a tool. It's not an entertaining, a social media device. It's a tool that you use to talk to people, to communicate with people. And that's what we want to do. Like, you are exactly right that going completely phone free, it's dangerous, because what if you want to, what if you run into something that you need to call people? What if you need, some emergency happen? And light phone to us, our thought is creating a peace of mind when you go out without smartphone. So, almost knowing that, hey, I could call my family if I need to. My friends can reach out to me if they want to, but other than that, nothing else. I was just recently had a conversation with a woman in our working space, and she was telling me that light phone is like a quarter. I'm not sure in UK it's called quarter. A quarter is a 25 cents coin.
Yeah.
US. So it's like a quarter in the old days. I was like, why is like a quarter? And she was like, because in the old days, without smartphone, you always want to have a quarter on you so you can use the payphone.
Just in case you need to make it. Yeah, that's such a good analogy. Yeah,
it's a peace of mind.
That really is. And then I think, so the second solution that a couple of people had come up with was to get like a, like you did with the, during your study, you gave people like an old flip phone. But I think another one of the issues is when you're asking people to make a lifestyle change like this, it needs to be as convenient as possible. It has to stack the deck in the favor of doing the thing that you want them to do. And obviously, one of my friends tried to do this in the UK, and he got a £10 pay-as-you-go phone, then realized that because he's got a micro SIM from an iPhone, he then has to go and buy an adapter to make the micro SIM into a normal size SIM so that he can fit that into the phone. And that means like taking his iPhone apart every time he wants to do it, taking the back off this old phone, taking the battery out, fitting it into the new, like micro SIM adapter and putting it in. And you just think, well, I'm not surprised that he only stuck up with it for like one day a week for 3 weeks, because I couldn't be bothered to do that. Like, it's not convenient. And the thing is that the disparity between moving from a situation of such hyper convenience with Google Maps and Wikipedia and Google on a device, to think, right, not only have I got to give this up, but I've got to get through all of these really shitty fiddly hurdles to give myself less functionality it doesn't surprise me that wasn't a very successful approach.
Yeah, like I said, it's just not special enough for you to actually want to do it. I mean, to successfully encourage people to stay away from smartphone. I mean, I think that's why we created iPhone. It's well designed, it's beautiful. So you might, for people that never thought about going out with a smartphone, might get intrigued and say, hey, this thing looks cool. I'll go out.
Yeah, for sure. It
But
looks aesthetically, the light phone looks really, really cool. It's just a little bit bigger than a credit card, right?
yeah, it's a credit card size, and it's a bit thicker than the actual credit card, but it's easy for you to put in a wallet, just pocket, so you don't actually feel it's on you. So
Yeah.
that's the purpose. When we design iPhone, try to decide what's the form factor. We try to think about what is that thing? What is the thing that we always have on us, but we don't really notice that we have them? It's your credit card, it's your ID, it's your,
Yeah.
So that's why we make the design decision.
You've
credit card.
you've matched the phone with something that already exists, which is the credit card. I think it was interesting what you said at the very start about it needing to be something that was beautiful, that is kind of a little bit like planting a flag in the ground, so to speak. It's making a mark, and it's you're attaching your desire to go phone free and to do less tech usage to something which you can almost feel proud of a little bit. You have you have something and you feel proud of it, and you think, oh, this is a physical representation, a manifestation of my desire to better myself and to be more present.
Yeah, I mean, it's reflected on our users as well. Like, I feel really proud or honored that a lot of our customers that who bought a light phone, like, they share, like, it's almost they share the moment when they get light phone, and they just feel proud. Obviously, sharing on social media is kind of ironic, but
Yeah.
but you can see the proud that they want to share that, hey, I decide to do something. I make this choice. I'm gonna live this life from time to time. I'm gonna use my light phone from time to time. Call me if you need me. Like, we see that happening on a lot of social media. People sharing light phone with their friends. It's just fascinating to me. Like, it's almost become a lifestyle symbol. I want to say, and we just feel really great. And through that, I think what we want to do is just to encourage more people to try to do that. To try to stay away from smartphone, which we never do. Like, no one does that. So we want to, just hopefully inspire more people globally to try different solutions, different shoes, different clothes. Why not?
Yeah, I think the different shoes and different outfits analogy is the best one that I've heard so far. I think that what was interesting is, there's an argument to be made that fixing the problem of too much technology with more technology seems a little bit circular, but
Of course.
that's like saying that there is a problem with riding a bike, so why buy a car or why have a pair of walking shoes? It's the
Different
same.
thing.
Yeah, it's within the same realm, but it's a different route to meeting a similar goal. And
I mean, we like different shoes, different clothes. Is how we always say it. We always, like, if you compare light phone to your smartphone is like it's like toolbox again. It's like it's all kinds of tools. Like, it's thousands of tools you don't need.
yeah.
And light phone is a screwdriver.
Yeah.
So you could choose what you need. We can choose what technology we need in a specific condition, situation. We don't have to take it all in. We need to make a conscious choice. But right now, there's no choice. It's all smartphone. Everyone's making smartphone. Everyone's having smartphone 24/7. It's the last thing you see when you go to bed. if this is not addiction, what is it?
Oh man, I
So
think that's a really good point to be made. That it is. You're right. It's the last thing that we look at before we go to bed. It's the first thing that we look at in the morning. It's there. There was a video that got put up the other day of a girl's 21st birthday, and it was a Snapchat of her birthday cake coming over to her in a nightclub, and as this cake's come along, and obviously someone spent a load of time making this cake and organizing this big procession to arrive with her, and the camera pans round to her sat on this table, and she's watching her own 21st birthday cake arrive through the lens of her phone because she's so desperate to get the Instagram story to put up about that. And you think, oh, we've all been there. Like, we've all done something, videoing a gig or videoing a concert or something beautiful that was happening. But, who's it for? Because the memory of that happening for you will be much more valuable than the video that gets shown to your friends.
I know. It's like you go to a concert, everyone's putting their phone up, recording and blocking your view. I mean, every time I had that, I was like, oh God, like watch the concert.
Yeah, there's a really funny meme that I saw that was floating around on the internet, and it said something like, I was sat down on the subway looking at the man across from me, and he didn't have his phone out. He wasn't sat there texting or swiping through Instagram. He just sat there looking out of the window like a psychopath. And you think, like, that's such a comment on modern society that's the weird thing to do.
Yeah, that reminds me of a story. It's a story. So me and my co-founder, we a couple of years ago, we were in San Francisco doing this, retail relationship things. But anyway, we were in line in front of a restaurant, and in the line in front of us is a dad and his daughter, and his daughter just keep shouting and screaming, saying, "I don't want to be here. This is bored. I'm bored. I don't want to be here." So typically you were expecting, the dad just like give her a smartphone, give her an iPad, something to take her attention away. But he didn't do that. He sat her down and actually say that, "Hey, we talk about this. Boredom is the chance to learn." I was like, what?
Wow.
I need to videotape this. This is so good.
Yeah.
Expect him to say anything like that, but like, wow, I need to give you a live phone right now.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think that man's daughter has got a good chance of growing up to be a very mindful and well-balanced human being who's going to be able to deal with awkwardness. She's going to be able to deal with her emotions coming to the forefront with sadness, and it's not going to need numbing or hiding away by getting behind a phone. So Lightphone at the moment, I'm right in saying that you guys raised quite a lot of money on Kickstarter projects, right?
Yeah, so 3 years ago we raised 400,000 on Kickstarter, and then we go on raised another 3 million from private investor just to build a phone. Yeah, building a phone from scratch, like from two individuals, it's just not easy. We're not Apple, we're not Motorola.
I can't imagine it's a small undertaking. So $3.5 million.
Yeah, pretty much went into it, and especially we both have design backgrounds, so we want to make sure, like, from packaging, from the phone itself, from the cable, it's all designed and made well, because it's an inspiration. It can be a shitty, cheap alternative options, like just throw away burner phone. It can be. It has to be beautiful. It has to be inspiring. The packaging too. I'm not sure if you saw the packaging that we did. It's a book.
Yeah, I have seen it. If anyone hasn't, if you see it online, it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, we wanted to tell people that when you get a light phone, you get an impression that it's not about feature, not about screen size. It's about the little moment of your life that if you put on a smartphone that you will notice, like a picture of bird that flying through top of tree, a picture of old man sitting on the beach. We want to tell people, hey, life phone is not about phone. Obviously, we're selling a phone, but it's not about the phone. It's about the value of life phone is leave your smartphone behind, go out, enjoy your day, enjoy your time. Like, enjoy time when it passed through. Like, just don't occupy your thoughts with feeds.
Yeah, for sure. It's weird, isn't it? Because the light phone could probably be replaced with the life phone. You're allowing yourself to have life as opposed to a phone.
Yeah.
So where is the phone's functional, like fully functional with the call forwarding and everything in the US? Am I right? What about Canada? What about Europe? What's the plans moving forward to make this more accessible for people in other countries?
Oh, we actually 50% of our customers are from international users.
Uh-huh.
So for international users, you can still do call forwarding. The only issue, the problem that the only thing that you don't have as an international user is that we won't be able to mask your live phone number. So you will essentially have two different numbers.
Okay, but people
you can definitely
people when they call in, it'll forward on to the light phone, so that kind of doesn't matter. And then on the outgoing calls, there's only maybe 9 people that need to have your second number in any case, right?
Yeah, and we were worried that this will be a stop international customer from buying light phone or using light phone. But to my surprise, it's not really changing the decision. So like I said, 50% of our customers are from UK, EU, Asia, different countries too. Pretty amazing.
I think that a lot of people have identified that time away, time off screen, even if they haven't looked into this, and I'm talking like normal, everyday person on the street hasn't delved down the rabbit hole of cognitive biases and persuasive techniques and, time on screen reduction and all that. The normal person, I think, appreciates that they're using their phone too much. What's natural is, there's only really 2 options. It's either go phone free or kind of get a burner phone. And neither of those are tremendously attractive. So when the only hurdle that you do need to overcome is to have a second number, to me, that doesn't feel like a tremendously big problem, because you were, at the very least, you were going to have a second number anyway for the pay-as-you-go Nokia 2310 that you were going to look to use as a replacement.
Yeah, you could also potentially get a dual SIM card. Two SIM card with the same number. I think.
Yeah.
I believe Vodafone or other carrier in Europe does offer that. So, Chris, I'll feel bad if I didn't mention it. We are actually launching iPhone 2 today.
No way.
Yeah, today on Indiegogo. The thought is, it's being 10,000 phones in 3.5 years. Like I said, we keep asking ourselves, how do I make it? How do we encourage people to go light longer, to go light for good? Not a paired secondary device, but how do we do something that encourage a lot more people to go light for good?
That's fascinating. So come on, tell us what Light Phone 2. Tell us about Light Phone 2. I had absolutely no idea that this is happening.
Yeah. So if I use the same analogy, that smartphone is a toolbox, Light Phone 1 is a screwdriver, Light Phone 2 is a Swiss Army knife tool.
Okay.
So the Light Phone 2, our goal is to position it as your primary phone. It's not a second phone that you pair with smartphone. We want to have this device to potentially replace your smartphone. It's a 4G credit card size phone, the same form factor. We add e-ink as the display, and we add messaging.
Like a Kindle, right?
Clock. yes, like a Kindle, black and white, beautiful UI, simple UI. We add messaging to the second generation. We are also potentially adding the ability to call Uber and alarm clock direction, but that's it. We're not gonna become smartphone, but this to us is a Swiss Army knife phone that I think a lot of people globally are ready to make the switch.
So are you, when you say messaging, are you talking SMS?
Yes, SMS.
Okay. So do you see smartphone 2 as being a replacement for smartphone 1, or do you see it as being an alternative, like you'd have different scales of a like a car and a scooter? They perform the same task, but people don't necessarily. Some people will want one, and some people will want another.
Yeah, exactly. We're not replacing iPhone 1. We just because we got a lot of customer emailing us saying, "Hey, I love iPhone 1, but can you just add text message? I want to use iPhone all the time, but without text message or direction or ability to call a taxi, I can't go live all the time. I can use it in a daily tool." And that's exactly how we position iPhone 1. iPhone 1 is a take a break phone. It's a vacation phone. It's a phone you use when you're sitting on the beach watching sunset.
Yeah.
With iPhone 2, we want to create a different option that, hey, for those people that are ready to give up smartphone, give up being a slave of technology. Mm-hmm. This is a option. It's not old school Nokia, old school Motorola. It's e-ink display, credit card size, with all the essential tool that you need in your daily life.
Yeah. So do you think that you guys are at risk of receiving criticism from people who think that it's just a nefarious route to try and sell another piece of technology to people?
Maybe, but I actually we have, when we started iPhone 2, we actually did a survey asking our customer, hey, do you think it will be, hypocrites of us to trying to do a Swiss Army knife tool? And 80% of the customers saying no, because they believe that adding more features and allow them to stay away from the smartphone longer without social media, without internet, without all the distractions. It's actually pretty appealing to them.
So the extra the extra features net a positive.
Yeah, it's an essential tool. Like I said, we're not trying to become a smartphone. All I want to do is to invite more people to stay away from this mini computer we have with us 24/7. We don't need that. We have our iPad. We have our desktop. With iPhone 2, you could basically do anything else on your laptop, iPad, and you have the iPhone 2 for calls, messaging, calling taxi, alarm clock. That's it.
Yeah, I understand completely. I think it's been an absolutely fascinating chat, Kai. Would you be able to explain where everyone can find you? So the original iPhone, where the campaign for the new one's going to be, and how they can contact you online?
Yeah, if you could check out iPhone2.com. That's where our campaign is, and you can find our website through the campaign as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions from your listeners. My email is kaiwei@theliphone.com, KAIWEI, theliphone.com.
Fantastic, Kai. I really, really appreciate your time, man. Am I right in thinking, are you guys in stock for the iPhone 1 at the moment, or are you waiting on a new batch to be delivered for shipping?
Yeah, we actually sold out on iPhone 1. We have no inventory left at the moment. So we've been taking reservations for iPhone 1 at the moment, and we're also taking reservation on iPhone 2 at iPhone2.com.
Amazing. Thank you very much for your time, Kai. I really appreciate that. Links to everything will be below in the description. Good luck with your Indiegogo campaign. I really do think that what you're doing is born of a place of goodwill. I know that there is a criticism to be made. Fixing too much tech with more tech is not a solution, but I don't think that you guys are trying to achieve a money making. Obviously, it needs to be a commercially viable business, but I don't think that you guys are aiming to do this from a place of bad faith. I think that it is genuinely something that's born of the desire to make people's lives more livable, and I think it's a very noble pursuit. And I hope that you do very, very well with it in the future.
I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. Thanks for chatting.